Thank you, Chair. You're all very welcome. I think what we're trying to do here this morning is develop a creative tension. And the creative is as important as the tension. We've had in Ireland a lot of concern over decades about regulation, about standards, not just in relation to disability, in relation to lots of other areas. In more recent times, I suppose you could pick a spot in the middle of the last decade when the Disability Strategy, the Disability Act were brought into play, when the UN Convention was agreed, that actually flips, in a sense, the debate and the conversation about standards, regulation, and things like that. In this sense, if you take Article 19 of the UN Convention, and let me just read it briefly. States parties to Article 19 is living independently and being included in the community. States parties to the present convention recognise the equal right of all persons with disabilities to live in the community with choices equal to others, and shall take effective and appropriate measures to facilitate full enjoyment by persons with disabilities of this right and their full inclusion and participation in the community, including by ensuring that A, B and C. A, that they have the opportunity to choose their place of residence and where and with whom they live on an equal basis with others, and are not obliged to live in a particular living environment. B, have access to a range of in-home, residential and other community support services, including personal assistance to support living and inclusion and to prevent isolation and segregation from the community. And C, facilities for the general population are available on an equal basis to persons with disabilities and are responsive to their needs. So I think it's between that statement and then the practical issues about regulation, where we have regulation now commenced in relation to places of residence, which HICWA are responsible for. But apart from that, you have health and safety regulations, you have employment law, you have lots of regulatory standards to be dealt with. Issues about the insurance industry, all of those things. So so there is a tension here, and practical issues are going to come up, and I think we need to deal with them in a trusting and good faith and a goodwill way to try and start and move on a conversation. You will have read in my opening remarks or to the annual report, I've said that many services to people with disabilities have been developed in an excluded or a very constrained way, where the emphasis was primarily on protection and care. So you don't want to be uncaring, you don't want there not to be protection, but the will and preference of people, and that's the tension. And now with some inspections done, we'll have a regulator in relation to the whole sector. We've other things as well. It is really timely and practical that we start to tease some of those. Now, this morning we're going to start that conversation, not conclude it, and it'll be one that will ebb and flow depending on as different experiences come and go. So they're my opening remarks, and I'm very pleased that we have the two speakers here who are very keen to make short presentations to us, and indeed yourselves with your own experiences. So that's where I just want to leave it.